Episode 3, The Fruit of Kathina Offering, Part 1. A young gentleman who received celestial cloths from the wishing tree. Merit needs to be accumulated, and the giving of alms ought to be performed, because these things are the root of all happiness and success in one's life. Merit can lead the giver to the celestial realm. Therefore, a wise person gives alms on a regular basis. The original purpose of Kathina offering is to offer new robes to the Buddhist monks during a certain period after Buddhist Lent. This way, monks could trek and find a place of solitude to practice meditation without any concerns about their worn-out robes. The offering of new robes to the monks bears tremendous fruit because the robes are a necessity for them. The enormous fruit from the Kathina offering can be illustrated from the story of the young gentleman of Benares, who once enjoyed celestial treasures in the celestial realm in a previous existence. In one past existence, this gentleman lived during a period when Buddhism was absent. He was born a man of wealth and good fortune. While he was enjoying a walk in the woods one day, he happened to see a silent Buddha in the midst of making a new robe. When the silent Buddha ran out of material, he folded the unfinished robe to put it away. The young man noticed the silent Buddha's action and went up to ask in order to find out what he was doing. The silent Buddha said nothing, for he practiced the austerity of speech. The wise young man realized that the silent Buddha did not have enough material to finish the robe, so he removed his beautiful shawl and respectfully laid it at the silent Buddha's feet. The silent Buddha took the shawl and stitched it to the unfinished robe and was able to change into the new robe the following day. After the man passed away in that existence, he was reborn in the Tawatimsa realm, the second level of heaven, and enjoyed a long and blissful existence. After he ceased to be in the celestial realm, he was reborn a male in a royal minister's family that lived about 16 kilometers from Benares during an era between the Lord Kassapa Buddha and our Lord Gautama Buddha. One day there, the young gentleman heard the news of an upcoming festival. So he asked his mother, "Mother, I would like a new cloth to wear to the festival." His mother gave him the newest cloth in the house. But the young man refused and stated, "This material is too coarse, mother." His mother found him a nicer cloth, but the young man still insisted that the material was too coarse. His mother finally said, "For our family, this is the best quality cloth we can afford." The young man replied, "That's all right, mother. I shall look for one myself." The young man set off to look for his cloth and continued walking until he reached Benares. Led by the merit accumulated in his past existences, the atmosphere at the park was so serene that he laid down on a stone bench to take a nap. He covered himself from head to toes with a cloth. It so happened that day was the 7th day since the king's passing, and all the ministers had assembled to determine who should be the next king. They finally agreed that they would use the age-old custom of letting loose the royal horse-drawn carriage. Any man it stopped in front of shall be crowned as the next king. The royal carriage sped out of the city, circled back, and went into the royal park, and came to a stop in front of the stone bench where the young gentleman lay sleeping. The minister signaled the musician to start playing, in order to wake the young man up. When the young man woke up, the minister informed him that he would be the next king of the city of Benares. The young man asked, "Didn't the king leave an heir?" One minister answered, "No, sire, there was only an heiress." The young man said, "If that is the case, I shall be honored to be your king." Once the young man agreed to be their king, the ministers brought the royal attire and presented it to the young man. But the young man said, "This material is too coarse. Don't you have cloth of higher quality?" One minister said, "Our late king also used this type of cloth, and we don't have anything better in this country, sire." The young man asked for the water-filled gold gourd in order to rinse his hands and mouth. A gold gourd of water was then fetched. The young man poured water from the gold gourd to wash his hands and rinse his mouth. He then sprinkled water in all 4 directions. As soon as the water touched the ground, there immediately rose 8 wishing trees in each of the 4 directions, for a total of 32 trees. These wishing trees, rising out of the power of the young man's accumulated merits, were huge and radiant. The young man walked toward the trees and stretched out his hand towards one tree and made a wish. There suddenly appeared a small flower bloom that was bigger than the rest. It continued to bloom bigger. It bent itself down toward the young man. Inside, in the middle of the flower, was a celestial cloth. The color of the flower corresponded to the cloth's color. A red flower yielded a red cloth. If the flower was yellow, there would be a yellow cloth in it. If the flower was blue-green, the celestial cloth would also be blue-green as well. If the flower was orange, the celestial cloth would also be orange. After the young man received this cloth, he told the ministers, "Go and tell all the women in the city that they no longer had to do any weaving, but to come and take the cloths from the wishing trees." The young man was crowned and given the name King Nantaraja. This story shows us that supernormal treasures can occur because it happened before. In this season of Kathina offering, you are all invited to participate in the ceremony at the Dhammagaya Temple on the first Sunday of November, so that we can accumulate merit together. There is more to this interesting story of King Nantaraja, which will continue and conclude in the next episode.